when a magician meets someone with real magic. Today's story comes from a magician. His friend once encountered a female ghost during a performance in Guizhou. The friend's name is Xiao Shuai. He has been into magic for a very long time. He even started his own magic company in Guizhou. Sometime around the year, Xiao Shuai got a tour for a beer company event. Can't say the big company's name. Probably wanted to reward the employees with some team building. Called Xiao Shuai and his team to go to this beer company, each of their breweries, to perform. The company is big, so are the factories, spread everywhere. Later during the tour, they arrived at a very remote village, which is normal, because it's cheaper to have factories in such places. The workers are usually from the village, but in recent years, the young people in the village choose to work in big cities. Not many are willing to stay, mostly the elderly and children, and a few brewery employees. So the village is somewhat lacking in vitality. Since it was a tour, Xiao Shuai and his team chose a simple approach. No big events or stages, just driving a 5-car convoy, fully equipped with sound and lighting equipment, enough for dancing and performing small magic tricks. Besides performing, Xiao Shuai also acted as the host. They got to the site in the afternoon to prepare. It was around afternoon, before the evening performance. They needed to test the equipment to ensure it was working, but due to the lack of entertainment in the mountain village, a performance was rare. So many villagers had already gathered. Other setups were quick, only took a moment. Just the host's microphone and speakers. Took a bit longer. Had to test all the sound levels. Otherwise, the mic would feedback during the show. But the strange thing happened. While Xiao Shuai was testing the microphone, every time he spoke, a woman's crying would come through the speakers. As soon as Xiao Shuai stopped, the crying stopped. When they played music, the crying accompanied the song. It was very eerie. The woman was crying pitifully, and it sounded like she was singing something in the local dialect. But since the woman's voice always came with music, or speaking, it wasn't clear. Xiao Shuai tested for a long time, but couldn't find the source of the crying. Adjusting the volume didn't help. The noise always came with the sound system. Here's roughly how it sounded. Sound check, hello, hello, hello. They hadn't figured out the problem yet. Many audience members had already left, especially the elderly. They seemed to know something and left quickly. Suddenly there were only a few brave souls left. Everyone else had dispersed. The sound technicians and Xiao Shuai worked for a long time, but couldn't fix it. They speculated. Maybe a nearby KTV was interfering, but that didn't make sense. Who plays ghostly cries at a KTV? Although few people remained, they still performed that evening, because they were paid to, but stopped after 2 acts, because the crying was too disturbing, and the audience had left. Xiao Shuai and his team thought it was just an accident, so they didn't feel much, and weren't scared. Later, after the show, they went to eat, and learned from the villagers that previously, a woman had committed suicide for love. Since then, strange things often happened, including the crying from the sound system. It was that woman. The KTV interference theory was nonsense. There's no KTV in the village, not even a home karaoke machine. That's why the elderly left so quickly. Xiao Shuai and his team left in a hurry. The more they thought about it, the more scared they became. It's hard to understand the fear, unless you've experienced it. Anyway, the performers were traumatized. They hurried down the road, growing more frightened by the minute. Just talking, it's hard to truly convey the terror they felt. In the end, everyone involved in the performance was left with a shadow.